Alright my little flower pots. So I'm sure, like me, you've often stayed awake at night wondering what would happen if a Renault Espace had an inappropriate relationship with a Nissan GT-R Nismo. Well, wonder no more, because this questionable automotive love child is the result of the aforementioned dubious hookup. I present to you the Nissault Espismo GTR, also known as the JAP Baguette, and it is epic. So the Renault Espace F1 was already a bit of a lunatic from the factory, but this engine swap build takes things to a completely different level. Now running the VR38 DETT engine from the Nissan GT-R Nismo, this is basically an engineering crime with a number plate. Okay, so here's the stats. We've replaced the naturally aspirated 3.5 litre Renault V10 with Nissan's legendary VR38 DETT unit, a 3.8 litre twin-turbo V6. With all the extra modifications, we're sitting at 1,042 horsepower. It's quite a heavy boy at 1,378 kilograms. Well, I mean I say that, but is it really that heavy for a van? Regardless, we comfortably break 200 mph down the main straight. Get your screenshot fingers ready now, I'm going to pop all the build details on screen for you. Getting this build under 600 pp was insanely easy. I originally approached the build with a bit of caution. I wanted to calm it down slightly to squeeze out the fuel for a full 6 laps. I don't know why, but I always initially focus on a one-stop strategy in my builds. But anyway, I digress. When I tuned the setup to last 6 laps, the van just felt sad, and nobody wants a sad van. So I did the sensible thing and I turned it back up to 11. A few little tweaks later and I was genuinely laughing at how properly sorted this thing is. It's an absolute pleasure to drive, and this is where the build becomes a complete common sense paradox. It has all the power, all the torque, all the brakes, and all the turbo. However, it goes like stink. Stops on a 10p, turns really well, it laps everything. It's like it's just trying to headbutt the horizon constantly. This thing has absolutely no business working, but it does. Even on a 2-stop strategy, this is still one of my fastest cars for finishing the event. A good run will see this thing finish in under 25 minutes. Okay, get them screenshot fingers ready again because I'm going to pop the race strategy on screen for you now to screenshot. So here is the strategy. Fuel map 1 all the way, nice and simple, like me. Start the race on sport medium tyres. We're going to pit at the end of lap 4 for fuel and another set of sport mediums. That'll carry us all the way through to the end of lap 9 where we come in again. This time we're just going to fuel up to the diamond marker, we don't need to fill it right up. Then throw on some sport softs for the final stint. Just remember the usual Tokyo final corner trick for rear wheel drive vehicles, which is short shift first and second gear on the way out. Keep it all settled and clean, you've got no reason to bin it on the last corner. Okay, so let's talk about the vehicle's downside. Honestly, I'm just disappointed we can't drop another 500 horsepower into the thing. I genuinely think this Asbo could handle it. That's it. How good is the GTR swapped Renault Espace? Yes. Now, before we get into the replay, I'd just like to invite you to comment if this setup was any good for you, if you had to make any changes, or if you managed to win the event with it. I really do want to help any struggling or new players, and genuinely hope that my setups are useful, even as a baseline tune for you to then tweak to your preference. I do like to show the replay of each build winning the event, but I wouldn't expect you to watch it all. I'm just grateful you made it this far. So there you go, my delicious little flower pots. That is the Nissault Espismo GTR, the JAP Baguette. I hope you all win lots of money on the Tokyo 600 race with it.